We're standing right here in the world's oldest Canaanite gate. It dates back to about 4,000 years.
Situated approximately 12 miles to the north of Gaza, hugging the shores of the Mediterranean, lies the ancient city of Tel Ashkelon. This historic city has witnessed the rise and fall of civilizations over millennia, with Canaanites, Philistines and Romans leaving their mark on its storied landscape. Recently, during excavation work in the area, archaeologists were captivated by the sight of an off-white slab, sparking their curiosity and fueling hopes of an extraordinary discovery, perhaps something linked to biblical times. This initial find prompted a fresh round of excavation, unveiling the long-buried secrets concealed beneath Tel Ashkelon Park. While the original structures had been shattered by a seismic event that once shook the land of Israel, their memory endured. Now, archaeologists have not only unearthed remnants of this testament to Ashkelon's Roman heritage, but also have ambitious plans for its restoration and preservation. What precisely has been revealed, and how significant is this discovery? Let's delve into the fascinating details. Ashkelon boasts a rich and ancient history that stretches back to the Stone Age, with its origins tracing all the way back to 8000 BC. It rose to prominence during the Middle Bronze Age, approximately from 2000 to 1550 BC, when it served as Canaan's largest seaport. The city's significance and prosperity made it an enticing prize for various conquerors, and around 1150 BC, according to biblical accounts, it fell under the rule of the Philistine people, known for their ongoing conflicts with the Israelites. The Bible, specifically in Judges 1:18, chronicles a period when Ashkelon, along with Gaza and Ekron, briefly came under the control of the tribe of Judah. However, by the time 2 Samuel 1:20 is reached, the Philistines had already reclaimed dominion over the city, underscoring the historical ebb and flow of power and influence in this ancient region. In later historical epochs, a new conqueror emerged on the scene, the Babylonians. They laid siege to and ultimately razed the city in the 600s BC. However, when the Macedonian conqueror Alexander the Great arrived in the region during the 300s BC, Ashkelon had managed to recover and once again thrive. Under his reign, it became a bustling seaport vital to regional trade. Moving forward to the 1st century BC, a fresh wave of conquerors arrived in the form of the Romans, who would hold sway over the region known as Judea for many centuries. Although Judea had its local rulers during this period, they were under the firm dominion of the Romans. A notable figure who came to power in the years preceding the birth of Christ was Herod the Great. While he officially assumed full power in 37 BC, he earned a reputation as a prolific builder and ruler. Judea experienced prosperity under Herod's leadership, despite his unfavorable portrayal in biblical accounts. He is often depicted as a tyrant, known for his alleged desire to massacre innocent individuals. While the historical accuracy of these accounts is debated, it was originally believed that Herod was born in Ashkelon, although contemporary scholarship has cast doubt on this claim. Nevertheless, under his patronage, the city underwent significant architectural developments, including the construction of fountains, colonnades, bathhouses, and various other structures, contributing to its flourishing status. Israel's Antiquities Authority's excavation director, Sahar Ganor, along with archaeologists Rachel Bar-Natan and Federico Cobran, released a statement regarding Ashkelon in May 2021. They noted that the writings of the historian Josephus made reference to Herod's construction activities in the city of Ashkelon. This historical evidence strongly suggests Herod's significant involvement in the city, and it wouldn't be surprising if it were eventually proven that Herod had a particular fondness for Ashkelon. The city held great importance as a vibrant trading hub, with a notable emphasis on wine production. The Romans regarded its port highly and even granted it tax-free status. However, as time passed, the city changed hands through various ruling powers, including the Byzantines, Muslims, and Crusaders, before being eventually abandoned in the 13th century. The initial excavations of this ancient city were spearheaded by the renowned adventurer and traveller Lady Hester Stanhope back in 1815. As the niece of British Prime Minister William Pitt, Stanhope was a nonconformist of her time who defied societal norms. She arrived in the Middle East in search of treasures and made Lebanon her home base after her quest for glittering riches in Ashkelon proved fruitless. Today, the city thrives once more, although its primary attraction has shifted from trade to its beautiful beaches. Nevertheless, owing to its rich history, Ashkelon remains a hub for captivating archaeological finds. These discoveries include a Roman grave, a Byzantine-era church, and a metallic statue bearing an eerie resemblance to the biblical account of the golden calf. To the south of the modern city lies Tel Ashkelon Park, which encompasses the remnants of ancient cities. It serves as a bustling site for archaeologists eager to unveil the area's hidden secrets. The park features the ruins of churches, Crusader city walls, and fortifications built by the Canaanites. Additionally, a Roman-era sculpture garden can be found among the park's attractions. One specific archaeological site gained notable attention, and it's the excavation at this location that piques our interest. In the 1920s, British archaeologists began working at this site, uncovering a remarkable Roman-era statue. This statue depicted Nike, the goddess of victory, standing on Atlas, the mythological giant who supports the Earth. The British team made another significant discovery on the same site, unearthing a statue from ancient Egypt featuring the goddess Isis, portrayed as Tyche, who was one of Aphrodite's daughters and represented as a goddess of fortune. It may seem unusual, but the British team reburied these ruins, a decision made by John Garstang, the excavation's leader. This practice, though it may appear odd, was often carried out to protect the archaeological finds from potential harm. However, archaeologists didn't pay much attention to the site for many years, with their return only happening in 2008. Nevertheless, it was evident that this site held significant archaeological significance. Another excavation took place in the following decade, and upon its completion in 2018, multiple parties joined forces to restore the ancient settings. This decision appeared to be a wise one, as the two excavations had unearthed substantial findings, greatly enhancing experts' understanding of the past. Reconstructing this site would also enable tourists to experience a glimpse of the historical era it represented. But what had the archaeologists uncovered? In May 2021, archaeologist Rachel Barr-Nathan revealed that they had an inkling of the site's significance even before the excavations began. John Garstang had already estimated the building's dimensions and identified marble columns that suggested it might be the structure mentioned by Josephus. Interestingly, this large edifice was a basilica, a term that today typically conveys a cathedral or an important church, but had a different meaning in pre-Christian times. During the Roman era, a basilica served as a civic centre, featuring a central space and two adjacent halls. Its purpose was to function as a communal gathering place for the residents of the bustling port city. The excavation directors believed that this basilica was constructed by Herod, a notion supported by the discovery of Herodian coins in the ancient floor layers of the building. This would have been an imposing structure, towering over the city of Ashkelon. People frequented this site for various activities, including business dealings, legal matters, religious ceremonies, and performances. It is also believed that the entire complex, consisting of the central hall and the two wings, would have had a roof. The directors of the excavation clarified that the hall was encircled by rows of marble columns and capitals, reaching an estimated height of 42 feet, providing crucial support for the building's roof. These columns and capitals were likely elaborately decorated, adorned with intricate carvings of plants and the iconic Roman eagle emblem, making the building truly grand in its time. The archaeologists deduced that the basilica's construction was overseen during Herod's reign, but the marble features within it were created much later, specifically in the late 2nd century AD, during the rule of the Severan dynasty in Rome. Throughout this dynasty's rule, the basilica underwent extensive renovations, and the marble work is attributed to this period. Archaeologists have uncovered nearly 200 pieces made from this imported marble. In addition to these findings, from the same period emerged a small theatre known in its time as an Odeon that was connected to the site. Notably, the marble used wasn't locally sourced in Ashkelon. It had to be transported from various parts of the Roman Empire, including Asia Minor. Archaeologist Sar Ganor vividly illustrated this process, saying you can imagine ships laden with marble making their way to Ashkelon. Although the basilica appeared to be a structure meant to stand the test of time, its fate was far from enduring. In AD 363, a massive earthquake rocked the region, resulting in the ruin of the building and its subsequent abandonment. Archaeologists noted that the impact of the seismic waves left visible traces on the structure's flooring. Furthermore, when the Muslims took control of Ashkelon, they repurposed parts of the ruined basilica in other construction projects. According to a spokesperson from the Israel Antiquities Authority, IAA, historical evidence from the Ottoman period suggests that marble elements were repurposed as paving stones, and some of the exquisite architectural components were utilized in new building construction. Sar Ganor elaborated on this matter, stating the most valuable pieces were transported to Jaffa, an area in Tel Aviv. There was indeed an abundance of material for the Muslims to utilize. Presently, the prevailing estimation suggests that the basilica had dimensions of approximately 330 feet by 130 feet. Its monumental columns, part of its colonnade, soared to heights exceeding 40 feet. Remarkably, even after its downfall, these columns and other remnants left behind hundreds of tons of material, with over 200 items having been unearthed. The elements that were taken by the Muslims weren't simply lost. Some of the marble that once adorned the basilica can now be found in Jaffa's Mahmudiya Mosque, which happens to be the largest mosque in Tel Aviv. However, the archaeologists are not content to leave the basilica in its ruined state. Their plan involves the reconstruction of at least some of its elements. They intend to place columns and sculptures in their original positions, and around 17 columns will be restored in the colonnade, allowing visitors to get a decent idea of its appearance during its prime. Restoration and conservation efforts are ongoing for the entire basilica complex, with completion expected by the end of the year. These efforts will also include the creation of new accessible pathways around the heritage and landscape sites within the park. That's all for today, and of course, if you've enjoyed this archaeological adventure, don't forget to like and subscribe.